Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. We're going to talk about Pillage. I guess we'll talk some about the upcoming electrical storm. And why do they call the Photon a elite countermeasure ship? I still haven't figured that one out yet. But the link's on the right-hand side in case anybody'd like to join. And say hello to everybody. Lady Cat,
Hello.
Magic Mike,
Hello, everybody.
and Derpy.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. Alrighty. Well,
That didn't sound pretty.
I was just practicing my counting skills. I heard they can use some help in Nevada.
I see.
Oh.
Okay. Well, let's get going. Let's, I guess, hit the calendar real quick. Oh yeah. Let's go back to the. One slide. Today we started to get a drop of the weekly supply chest. It is not just a drop into your existing tokens. It's the last chest that you'll find, and this is what I got this morning. The tricky part about this is this lasts for a month, but the vast majority of these tokens, especially the photon ones, are probably not going to be that useful after this week, unless you need to do some adjustments. But I guess we'll get another one. Maybe we'll get another one right before the like 2 days into the raid, in case you want to make some adjustments at that point. But otherwise, probably the daily supply pack is potentially more useful. Hey, Predator, how you doing? Okay.
I'm doing good.
Glad to hear it. And again, anybody else would like to join, it's in the right-hand side. And anybody else have any thoughts on the November stimulus package?
It would have been nice a month ago, but not so nice right now. I mean, I have 12. I got 12 hour of each Everest and then the regular photon. So
I got the same.
Yeah, which might actually be more useful than getting the photon one, because in the raid we are going to be getting the C9 capstone engine for the Everest, so it's probably would fit nicely into there. Probably would be a 6 to 8 hour fit, so not forced to use a full day of Everest tokens. So, alrighty, let's move on then.
That chest is probably the same for everybody.
No, the first two are the same for everybody.
Oh, okay.
Well, if you're listening, what did you get the same as I did?
On this last one, I got the 12-hour photon and a 12-hour Everest.
Well, both Lady Cat and Derpy got two 12-hour Everest tokens.
Yeah, that's what I have. Two 12-hour Everest tokens. I was just checking, and one 12-hour photon.
Okay, so you didn't get the UV photon. See, if you looked at the slide, I got the UV photon.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't have my glasses and I can't see the damn screen.
Okay, alrighty. We're in Pillage right now. We have electrical storm next week, and then yada 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 for the rest of it. And I don't know. We've gone through this a bunch of times, so I don't think there's much to discuss here. It's sort of been Groundhog Day for a while, and only thing of interest here would be Crappersnot, December 23rd, and we'll get the 12 Days of Christmas, which will probably start popping up, I'm guessing, VX, during the raid.
I would guess 12 days before Christmas.
Yeah, so during that second raid. So
that's what it looks like to me there.
Yeah. So, alrighty. Let's move on. This was the original This is the original version of BP Next Week. I had to put it in here because the official version didn't come out until a little bit closer to the show. So if you click one more time.
Well, hold on. There's that word sick there. Does sick mean good or bad? I was never clear on this one.
Well, sometimes you need to, I don't know, you want to do the Google Translate from Canadian? Because we have that TBC thing that nobody knows what it means.
Okay, yeah. I was going to check Twitter for the definition of sick.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to read it to us, Derpy.
I got 3 eyes in it.
Yeah, it's got
Okay.
3 eyes. It's a three-eyed sick, a rare creature.
Hey.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So here's the official BP Next Week. Electrical storm into useless campaigns. Unless you want to, further equip your Praetorians, which I've melted all mine down. Maybe in case I want to build them back again. But I think I can open up a chest at some point and get another set of them. The art show. Art showcase featuring a very special sneak peek of the upcoming Archimedes heavy missile turret. Okay, so this is because it shows up in the art showcase and is announced. Does that mean it doesn't actually? We don't actually get to see it. Sort of like it's been so long. What's the name of the new building they were going to put in our base?
The Saw Factory?
Yeah, the Saw Factory. So maybe this dooms it if it shows up in our showcase that we don't actually get to have it in the game. And yeah, as we mentioned before, we're going to get upgrades for so many things. The current raid fleet, the Photon and its flag, and the Everest and the flag. The Photon and the flag, those will go up to X1, and the flagship or the Everest and the flagship will only go up to U3, and a concussive depth charge turret for your base. So, alrighty, any more thoughts on this?
No.
Well, we just got a corrosive heavy weapon for heavy turret. Then we get a concussive depth charge heavy turret. Then we get a missile heavy turret. That's a lot of heavy turrets there.
Yeah, and I'm sort of wondering, are we, after tier 8, are we going to get anything that's not a heavy turret anymore?
That's a good question. I would probably like one, even if it ended up being like a more of a utility thing rather than a damage dealing thing.
Yeah, it's because we do have, we have 24 turrets, and how many HT transformers do we have?
12.
12. So
half your stuff is useless.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could use them as walls or something of that nature.
Yeah, I've got some I have a glacial to slow you down, a few harpoons to slow you down, one kind of measure, but they're just there with solar panels on there, so I don't go over base power.
Yeah, and I melted one down until I just have a howitzer 1 on it just to make space. So okay, well, nothing else on that. Let's move along. Well, we already got to. We don't. Has anybody tried this? Is this? As I recall, this one when I did it, I haven't started it because my Everest are getting used elsewhere. I recall I did this one and I was able to. I would repair in base after every encounter, but I would make it all the way through, and maybe have like 3 minutes of repair time when I was done autoing the targets. Does that sound right?
I never did it that way. I just hit it all the way through and repaired at the end because I didn't even want to put that amount of effort in.
Well, I was just thinking this way. You could just, if you wanted to, you could auto them all and just, auto, 3 in a row if you wanted to. But I think this is the one that, I was doing that way. So, but yeah, I would recommend everybody do it just to get the additional cloud breaker build tokens. And okay, Neil, you've done it, so it's yeah, auto and repair, and yeah, but I would recommend that everybody does this one for both the armors and for the all the build tokens. So okay. The other one's pretty much the same. Then on the next slide, it's the same campaign, but you can get stuff for your trencher, and if you're not maxed out on invader plates, this is probably the cheapest way to get them. So, all right, let's move on. All right, Pillage. What does everybody think about the targets that we have?
138 is too hard. 145. I found an interesting way to go through them that involved a refit.
Okay, do you want to explain?
Yeah, so we were taking all the damage on one ship. So I put a whole bunch of evade on that one ship and even made it a little faster. That way, when I drive through it, and I can even show an example here in a few seconds if you want me to,
Sure.
it moves just slightly further ahead and takes all the damage for sure.
Okay.
So we can go through the whole target here or as much as people actually want.
Okay. How did you do the stream?
I did hear that some people were just taking their ships and stacking them up all nicely and pressing the auto button. I was going to go ahead and drive through it. And my ship number 5 just has more weight on here, including one D5 EV plate, so it moves faster. So you can see by the time you even get to the first ship, it's further ahead and it's taking 100% of the damage.
Okay.
It ends up being about 7 minutes damage with no crew. And you can see at this point it's getting further ahead, so you do have to stack back up. If you did want to rotate your ships through and change which one tanked, you might get it down to instant. But I was trying to hope for instant on map, honestly. I haven't got there yet, but this makes it easier to tank with a really high evade ship. And I had extra Munir build tokens. They're all at X1 now. So I put 3 different evade upgrade specials on this on the last ship.
Okay.
I have a hard time getting under a half an hour, and I had almost the same build as you had, except for the engine. You had the Reaver engine.
But when we walked you through it, on Wednesday, you were getting far below a half an hour.
It was like what, 28 something like that. I don't know what happened, but I've been driving it like
21 minutes or so. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been driving it. Look like I'm seeing Derpy driving it right now, except I don't have the change of the ships. And I'm the best I'm doing is like 26 minutes, 28 minutes, but most of the time it's half an hour, and I don't understand that. I don't know what I'm doing different.
Well, the thing that we commented on that you were at times, we're not sure how much damage they actually do, but sometimes you were almost running over the ammo ships.
Right, that was in the beginning, right? And then I learned not to.
Okay.
I don't think those actually do any damage, but
okay.
Well, they do if you get close enough to them.
They shoot you, but I don't think they. I think that's like 3 seconds.
It doesn't hurt you bad, right? I mean, it doesn't hurt you bad, but
yeah.
Yeah, I was making some driving mistakes for sure, because when I first started, remember I said I was getting an hour damage, and it's because I was avoiding the ammo ships to get to the other ones and not using them to my advantage.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You have to try and use those all the time.
Right, and that's what I learned on the show, which I probably knew a month or so ago and already forgot, but nonetheless. But I'm still, as hard as I try, can't seem to make it much better. And I compared my build to yours, and I think the major difference only was the engine.
The engine shouldn't really affect it.
Was my thought as well.
The armors and the evade on the 5th ship are the biggest biggest factor here, I'd say.
Mm.
I'm gonna guess I took about 12 minutes on this run, and I take. There's a huge percent of the damage that 91% is evaded or countermeasured, and a bunch is resisted, and a little bit's taken. 11 minutes, 33 seconds of damage, and the repair on these first 4 ships is 0 seconds. It's this last one. You can see I have 3 of the old concussive armor that adds 10% evade, as well as I have 3 evade upgrade specials on there, as well as guidance square number 3.
But you have the EV armor on there, right?
I put 1 D5 EV armor on there, which will add a little bit to the overall fleet's repair time, but it does add evade and adds movement, which makes it easier for me to drive. I don't have to fiddle with what ship's out ahead. It just goes forward automatically.
Well, can you take a look at the Z1 CT that Neil's mentioned?
Yeah, that's the other one I have on here.
Okay, does that have evade, or I just don't?
So there's an old concussive, which is the Z1 CT. I just call that one old concussive, and that adds. Let me just show you 4 seconds to repair across those ships. So that old armor, and I'll hover over that. Yeah, here we go. Come on. So this one right here adds 5,000 concussive survival and 10% evade at 0 repair duration.
Okay.
So if you just put 4 of those on your back ships, you'll do okay. And then I put 1 D5 EV on here, which adds a tiny bit more evade, but also adds some repair duration and some combat speed, so it goes forward.
Yeah, he says he's getting instant in base with the. I think I don't know. I'm assuming
that's the old concussive one.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe this one's actually adding too much repair duration, so it might not be worth it because I haven't gotten below instant yet, although I have not been using a whole lot of crews. It shouldn't add that much repair time, but that's what I've been doing these recently, and I've just been autoing the 138 with my Everest fleet, which I think does too much damage. But there's my little tip, I'd say, for this one.
Could you pull up the photo? What's in your shipyard?
Nothing right now. I'm actually just going through and refitting my photon.
Okay. Could you? I can't. I have a hard time reading them. Though. What is okay? Projectile speed's the first one. The second one's evade, because James is asking, get 1 ship to U3 or all to U1 and a few to U2. So I was going to have you. You had it up there for a second.
Yeah, I'm bringing it back up and zooming in. I don't know if I remember how to do that. Anyway, yeah, I'll go back to that.
But yeah, I think most people are going to have a hard time reading them. So it's projectile speed, evade, 15%, and then
it's U1 is projectile speed plus 20%. U2 is evade bonus plus 12%. U3 is both concussive and penetrative survival plus 26,000, and U3 is penetrative damage plus 50%. I would guess that it's hard to tell. I would think that penetrative damage wouldn't matter a whole ton because we're already doing a lot of damage to the things in this target. My guess is that U2 on all 5 or all 4 that you can would probably be the way to go.
Well, and a few to U2, because U3 is also the survival, right?
U3, yes, is also the survival.
Yeah, because I'm also thinking if we end up that you want to drive as a tank.
I don't want to drive as a tank.
Well, I'm just thinking other people might want to drive as a tank. If somebody wanted to drive as a tank, and tank some of this because the death scythe doesn't do splash damage, and the stonefish doesn't do splash damage, and so it depends how far, just like a little bit of a tank is, just a little bit out, not having to spend the time trying to get the spacing correct to avoid splash damage. The additional evade and survival might make that effective. It's sort of a hard call.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing that we don't know, and I don't know if James, if you do that at all, but is normally like the day before the raid, there's going to be a some sort of offer to get a DU3 that's going to range from $4.99 to $39.99, depending on how far along you are, and we don't know at all how that works, unless somebody smart, knows more than has figured it out. That is it just the accumulation of time, or is it you get a different offer if you're all at U1 versus, I don't know how that, I don't really have any clue how that works. Does anybody have an idea? Besides the further along, the better you do.
I don't have any way to quantify it.
Yeah, I usually do that, but I don't. They're usually like the 1999 thing. By the time
it's I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell at this point. So I can see bonuses for both of them. But yeah, if you want to drive them tanked, it seems that the one getting U3 does seem to make the most sense, because the U1 really doesn't do much for you, I don't think. The 15% or 20% projectile speed bonus doesn't.
Yeah, especially if you already have high-speed missile jets, I don't think it will do a whole lot there.
Yeah. So maybe getting one to U3 might be advantageous for you. So, okay. Unless you got anything else, I'm going to go back to the slides for a minute.
Yep.
If anybody wants, but I do want to come back to your build is going to, well, we'll deal with Pillage and then we'll move forward, because the build that you're proposing is differing from mine, and I just want everybody to sort of discuss as far as sort of a strategy. But I wanted to get the everybody's thoughts on Pillage taken care of. Anybody else have any thoughts on Pillage? I'm doing, I sort of gave up on driving the 140 whatever, the 140
145.
Yeah,
the Munir one.
Yeah, because I realize I can, at the end of the night I can auto 10 of them until I get bored. I'll move around some ships, just so I don't always have the same fifth ship, and I can get at least 10 of them done. And then I'll just hit the 138. I'll drive on the 138, and I'm more exacting on the 138. I'm gunning, most of the time I'm somewhere between like 42 and 46 minutes of damage, but I spend more time than I think Derpy and some other people want to. Well, it's not really more time. I do use a pinch, and I do use a steelhead crew, and I'm pretty consistent in the mid 40s as far as damage, and all the damage is pretty even. So, but the thing I've noticed about Pillage that's the most shocking, I think, is the really low level of participation. Normally, with this amount of time I've spent and level of effort, I'm usually, at this point in the raid, I'm around 2,200 to 2,400 in the rankings, and now I'm around 1,100. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Does anybody else notice that?
I hadn't even looked. Are you talking global?
Yeah, global.
I'm about where I usually am, so
I don't pay much. I'm at 510. I don't pay a lot of attention to that number,
Okay.
or whatever
Derp,
that's worth.
have you noticed any difference, or is there? Because my level of effort is usually pretty consistent from pillage to pillage, and I've just seen that mine's my ranking is higher or lower number than normal,
Wow.
and it just feels like people aren't.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know where I usually am. I will say that I have put in probably a lower amount of effort than before because I don't enjoy hitting these targets. I don't enjoy. I feel like I'm taking too much damage. So I'm 841st with 400,000. Um, I I think as damage is higher, especially on the Everest target compared to the Praetorian one, where you could drive it for half an hour or set waypoints for half an hour. Now you're taking like more damage, and that's driving the whole thing. Participation, I wouldn't be surprised if it's lower.
Okay. And there's really not I have like 350 something, and I'm like, there's really not that much else to get. And we're only halfway through, so it could be the prize list. Could be part of it, I guess. I don't know, that people just don't need as many points.
Could be.
So
Yeah, because I guess the maximum stuff I can get is the 10 blacklight missiles, the photon flag, and the VXP tokens for the photon flag. And I've nearly got all of that. Maybe you pick up the invader armor plates too. If you do, you pick up two specific ones. If you still need a 10th ballistic or 10th explosive or something, if you don't already have them through the TLCs or wherever else.
yeah, but the TLCs is a much better route to get that. Doing the TLC, you're much more likely to, as far as level of effort and damage and whatnot, getting to level 3 in the creeping barrage TLC is much easier than accumulating all the points necessary to claim all 6 of these armors. So
I grabbed the pen battery too for some odd reason.
well, that's not recommended if you already have 5.
I had enough, but had the other things, and so I figured I'd just grab it.
Okay. I don't know. Is there much else we need to discuss about Pillage before, or any questions from chat or the panel before we move on to the Photon and the Electric Storm upcoming? Okay. Lady Cat, could you go to slide 11? Okay. I don't know. Does anybody think we should go through the strategy guide again to sort of explain why we're doing this? But
no.
okay. Alrighty. We have the Photon ECM, which has its special as the aim hack UAV, which pretty much, from what I can tell, is only impacting the Death Scythe missile and the Stonefish, because everything else is splash based, correct? But
that is my understanding as well.
Yeah, and then we have the built-in short-range EMP, which solely seems to be about the Cicatus or maybe the Ghost Crawler. The Cicatus is the small little sub that chases you around, and so we have those two things. So that does that, and that's why they each have their different sort of things. And so now it comes down to I assume that's why these are called, why it's an elite countermeasure ship is because it's different countermeasures than what we normally use. All right.
Well, I think it's called that because if you look in the offensive stats, it has anti-missile accuracy plus 25%.
Yeah, and I think that's where we get to the strategy, and I'm trying to figure out how to mix your build in with the strategy, because my build is going to differ from yours, because I guess it's time to get into that part of it. I see you're in a target, but basically there's a certain number of specials that all the three that the FTL, the wave. I'll wait till you get out.
The wave pulse warhead, yeah.
Wave pulse warhead, the penetrator battery 2, the high speed missile jets, and those are all given. And then you run into the issue of the fact that the Death Scythe is the only counterable missile. It works with Missile Defense System 3. But we've seen limited effectiveness with it, and in the strategy guide it was listed as a low chance to counter. So one of the experiments that we talked about on Wednesday is Derpy being the guinea pig, because he's going to be in alpha, is determining the effectiveness of countermeasures on the Death Scythe missile. And figure out if it's shooting anything down. But that should pretty much only rely on a single ship, correct? I mean, it seems like the way we've seen these targets previously, there's only one Death Scythe missile firing at you at a time, what we've seen so far. So the 10 salvos of the Missile Defense System 3 should be enough. Just one of them probably should be enough to deal with a single incoming missile, even though their salvo number appears to be close to 12. So a second one would be advantageous to at least shoot at them all, or attempt to shoot at them all. And then Anti-Proliferation System 2 has the highest increase in anti-missile accuracy of 45%. Okay, I'll put you back on screen. So determine if that's actually doing anything. But the rest of it, the other 4 builds, I'm, some type of aid, and then the high speed missile jets is as far as the what's going on there, at least with the specials that I'm thinking about. And you're planning to go with Hyper 30, which provides an additional. I'm planning to go with Guidance Scrambler 3. The big difference between that is the Guidance Scrambler 3 provides 50% of aid, while Hyper 30 provides 30% increase in projectile speed, combat speed, evade, and splash reduction. Why did you pick the? Why did you think Hyper 30 over Guidance Scrambler?
Okay. Well, to start with, just so we're all on the same page here, this what I have up here is basically what everyone agrees on. We have the 1, 2, 3, 4 specials that were new, and then the black light missiles, or the regular ones. If you don't have those, 6 of those. This is like we're all sure on that one. What I decided to go for my final build, for my regular ones, was I loaded out all the missiles. I put on 2 of each armor. Just because I didn't want to deal with it. It won't make that much of a difference. Maybe you could argue for 3 corrosive. Maybe you could argue for 3 missile. I'm not sure. But my last two specials for these 2 slots, you had a few choices. One choice was a countermeasure special, but because countermeasures, your missile defense system will only work against the one Death Scythe turret, and be very limited in effectiveness at that. Which is our guess based on the VXP targets. Yeah. I'm not going to put a countermeasure special. that leaves me with an evade special. I happen to choose Hyper 30, so I can add extra. It gives you a fair amount of evade, and which I could probably show here if I scroll down a little. It gives you a fair amount of evade.
60%, yeah, but I think it's 60%, and then I think it's 71. So it's about a 11% difference in evade, which
and
could
then
translate into
11% before you go on and add in the upgrades and your tac lab bonus and your maybe sea servant crew. Yeah,
and we don't really know how that translates into damage reduction at this point, because we would see a 10% reduction in damage if the accuracy of the death scythe is 100%. That change,
and if it's higher than 100%, you actually get more savings. Is that correct?
Well, a relative savings would be larger. 60. The difference would be larger, but the amount that your damage reduction would not be larger. Your damage reduction would be smaller. Your damage reduction would be smaller with higher accuracy. It wouldn't be 11%, but the delta. Well, I guess no, it would be, because the delta is going to be larger. So the delta would be larger with higher accuracy. So
I was not noticing when I tested my zealots and the VXP targets, it didn't look like the accuracy was anything insane or incredibly low. So I on my evade special, I happened to choose Hyper 30 over Guidance Score number 3. I kind of just wanted to be able to move a little bit faster, go through the target more quickly, outrun more of that corrosive damage, outrun the small ships a little bit more easily. But that's probably a 60-40 choice.
Because the question that I have is, if I'm going to run basically this build on most of my ships, at least probably 4 of the ships, except for I'm going to swap out Hyper 30 for Guidance Scrambler 3, is on the 5th ship. If there's we decide, okay, you need to have Anti-Proliferation System 2 and 2 Missile Defense Systems 3 at the front of not your flagship, but one of the main middle.
And we'll get to that bit.
But what I want to swap out, you're forced to swap out your your high-speed missile jets for Anti-Proliferation System 2. But
I could also potentially swap out the Penetrator Battery 2 if I wanted to. I mean, there's a few things here I could. I mean, would it be better to do Penetrator Battery over?
Well, you got the building damage. Well, depends on how much. The building damage is plus 100, and then you have 80. Well,
basically, you can't take off that evade special. I can't take off Hyper 30 because I want combat speeds to be the same, so I have to take off high-speed missile jets and or Penetrator Battery or Penetrator Battery 2. Yeah. So that's the thing there. And I elected to go with one ship to be, I guess, the guinea pig in this situation. I elected to go with one of my photons and I've built this with tokens already. So the one I just showed you, or this one right here, is my normal one. All missiles, 2 armor, and then these specials I showed. And then on the 5th ship, just to test, I put 2 Missile Defense System 3s, and I put Anti-Missile Proliferation System 2, because that adds 45% anti-missile accuracy. So I've got a pretty high anti-missile accuracy. I've done this because I don't think it's going to work very well, so I sort of want to show how ineffective anti-missiles will be in this target, even if you already have 70% accuracy, because it's not the number that you need, because this can anti-missile shoot once at every incoming missile, and with 2 of these things I can deal with, and they have about a 1 second reload, maybe up to 2 once you factor in the time it takes for every single one to shoot or whatever. But you're not only against one heavy turret at once. You're not going to be overwhelmed with your number, even if you yeah, so I put 2 on here. It's the accuracy part that is that's difficult. That's the limiting factor and makes them not very effective. So I would recommend
Yeah, 'cause
people not build what I have, and just build all 5, like the first one, or guidance score number 3 over hyper 30 in the first one.
or what we sort of discussed as far as building it to the stage where you have an empty special and you have 2 empty weapon slots, and save some of the photon tokens that we have if you're able to, and then figure it out on day 1, if they're working, and then slam them on with a 1-day token.
Yeah, so
Or
what I have here,
12-hour tokens that we're getting at this point.
I have a build saved as photon -1. This will get you 1 day and 16 seconds away from a full build if these last specials are if this is a blacklight missile, this is hyper 30, and this is the high speed missile jets. So that's what I went for, but I just spent all my tokens just now to get it all finished and out of the way and looking nice.
Okay.
That was my plan. I'd be curious to hear what everyone else is intending to go for.
Yeah, I think I've explained what I'm going for. It's very similar to your build, except for I'm sort of waiting to see what the results are on the anti-proliferation system 2, if it's working at all, because you have 70 times 1.7, you end up with 119% accuracy. So it could be, I don't know. Has anybody tested? Have you seen any videos where anybody's tested it with anti-proliferation system 2?
No.
Okay. So if it's shooting down half of them, it's
half is probably worth, but I'd guess it's more like 1/6 or something along those lines.
But what's the reason you think it's 1/6?
Because that was about what I saw in a video at the start.
But were they running anti-proliferation system 2?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
It's not a very big difference either way. It's only 5-10% more accuracy.
Yeah, but that can make a pretty big. It can make a big jump. The way they calculate accuracy versus evade, that can be pretty significant. 10% jump. So okay. Well, does anybody else have any questions out there as far as I don't know, anything you want? Well, we're not very not a lot of questions.
Well, actually, my bad. I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
The trencher. Is it okay if I show you what I have mine built as?
Sure, go ahead. You got to share your screen, though. You know how to do that?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yep.
This is what I have my trencher built as.
Okay, it's at least it's a little fuzzy for me, so you might need to walk people through it because. Okay.
Well, I got the Invader Plate M9 on it with the explosive plate on it and the radioactive plate.
Okay.
With a speed system 5 on it.
6, yeah.
6, my bad. A ballistic, whatever, colander.
Calibrator.
Mm-hmm. This.
Streamlined barrel loaders, okay. And invasion scanner and then we have the Conquest battery and countermeasure loaders 4. Um, um, I have some obvious questions, and then you have the okay, it's not at U1. So as far as the stun weapon,
You're pretty close there.
go ahead.
So first of all, I guess I start with the armor here. Enemy weapons, farsights, decimators, etc., do about 3 million damage. That the deflection you're actually getting from those tier 8 plates is next to useless because you're saving what 20,000 off of 1 million or 3 million. It's not a very good use of an armor slot there. So there are a few. I mean, the best one would be a tier 9 armor, but if you don't have that,
One of these right here.
yeah, those are significantly better because they do 100,000, save you 100,000 deflection instead of 20,000. So they're better. In general, you'd put on armor that is going against what people have in their bases. So a month ago, I would have said explosive and ballistic, but now we're getting new turrets that might change around a little bit. You really want to run armor that's equal to whatever people are using against you in bases most often. So you'll have to kind of play around with that. But the other thing is, a really big, important part of PvP stuff is tactical field resistance, which is you could use a lot more of there. And there is an armor, a D6 TA, a green one, unlimited print that does that, as well as a special and or engine change you could do.
So, like, what engine are you talking about?
So the one that's pretty common, if you can get enough points in Pillage, is it's the Onslaught engine. Thank you, Lady Cat. It's the Onslaught engine. It's limited and it's pretty good. And we recently have a new, it's the red one at the very top there, the tactical insulator engine or whatever it was. So if you don't have the newest engine, I would use the Onslaught engine. And if you don't have that one either because it's limited, then Speed System 6 is probably the third best option.
Well, my speed limit, when I go into battle, it's turn speed's 81, combat speed 60.
Yeah, if you hover over the Speed System 6 there, what benefit is it getting you there?
Evade bonus 18.
Okay. And what's the movement speed bonus on there?
Movement speed?
Okay, it's 75. Now
75.
go find the Onslaught engine in your blueprint tab.
Is it unlimited?
It's unlimited, yeah. Yeah, that's the newest one. That's the tactical onslaught. That gives you 110 combat speed as opposed to 75, and also gives you some tactical field resistance. So it's very good there because tactical field resistance is a really important stat because all those tactical fields you have in your outpost and warehouses. This helps against that. Then there is, if that's too expensive or too new, because it just came out, the regular onslaught engine, which should be just down there. That gives you more evade than your Speed System 6 and also is faster. So it's better in pretty much every way there. So that's the first thing in terms of specials.
So what about the rest, like right here?
Yeah, so countermeasure loaders 4, that just gives you about 25% reload. That's not very good. I would go for, in that slot, another special that gives you evade or tactical field resist. The best one right now, especially if you the best one would be the I can't remember the exact name, but it's the maybe you'll see it here. It's an orangish one that gives you it's ECM dampener.
Is it in blueprint or is it limited one?
It's in blueprint.
I'm pretty
So
sure
go
I
ahead.
don't have it.
If you don't have that, you can use
or you could just type in how's it spelled?
ECM.
Okay, just put in ECM.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a pretty good special because it gives you evade, tactical field resistance, and then some slow resistance, which is useful against the harpoons. So that's a fairly good one. If you don't have that, you can go with Agility System 4 or Agility System 3 if you would rather, because that will give you slow resist as well as evade. But you should find some way to add more tactical field resistance, and this special right here is good, and it is significantly better than Countermeasure Loader System 4. And then also your armor, your D6TA, would be a really good thing to put on instead of one of those plates.
Did you already go through the engine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's just one final change here in terms of invasion scanner. If you hover over that gives you, how much building damage. 75%. Siege targeting 4 will give you 100 plus 165%. So the idea is with general PvP at this point is to maximize building damage, which you can do a little bit more of.
There you go.
Maximize tactical field resist, which you could do a lot more of, and maximize evade, which would help.
Wait, could you go over that again? Because his was the one.
Well, mine's retrofitted to R15.
Yeah. That's what I was going to recommend. Are you researching anything in your retrofit lab?
I don't think so. Give me a minute.
Okay, because that's at this point, at least for me, uranium is so cheap that you might as well. It shows you have a research going on. One day, one day.
That's over a day, so yeah.
Okay, but that's getting researched.
It's the retro lab.
But yeah, the retro lab. That's in the weapons lab. Retro lab is the.
It's the water one.
No, just to the right of that one. Just to the right of that one. Close this one. That one.
There's a lot of things in here. Some of them are useful. Most of them are not. It's under the advanced tab because it's special. And there's a few things that are good to do here. The first one you'll see is siege systems. And there are a few others that are good to get up.
Yeah, because they've replaced... I'm sorry, go ahead. The siege batteries I don't think are useful anymore, but the siege system right there, that's going to be one day for 2,000 uranium. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while to get it all the way up. But if you're not doing anything in your retrofit lab, there's a few things that it's worth poking around in there and figuring out what's still useful in the game at this point in time. I have, and I'm sure Derpy does, and pretty much have that thing wiped out as far as everything's taken care of.
At the same time, I don't have another trencher, so I put it with these guys right here.
Okay.
I set him in front where there's a big gap in between, and I creep him forward while these guys come in.
And it works pretty well?
It does.
Okay.
The only problem is they don't like to target him sometimes.
And we target the back ones?
They target these guys right here.
Okay.
Then I have to pull them away and move him closer.
Okay. Ready? All right. So we taken care of most of your questions on the trencher? Oops.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We're back to Lady Cat. And the link's on the right-hand side in case anybody else would like to join. I'm not really sure if we have much else to much else to discuss. We went through the strategy guide on Wednesday, and Lady Cat doesn't want us to go through that again. Oops, and now she's gone to the title screen. But
Well, give me a slide to go to if you want to go to the slide.
well, I was still gonna, the Stride 11.
Oh, okay. You weren't done.
Well, I'm thinking that's probably the most relevant thing to discuss at this point, as far as builds on the ECM, is because we're going to get the raid next week, and there's still a lot of questions associated with it. Well, actually, let's go to slide 18. All right. This is going to be the only thing that your countermeasures are going to have a shot at, and this is sort of the question mark, at least for me, as far as completing my build. Along with, I'm sort of curious about the Dosodecus, or whatever, the Humboldt squid, as far as what Derpy's doing there with the increase in combat speed will allow you to kill them much more effectively before they get into range. That's slide 14. And but as far as the stun resistance, goes, it's that could be the reason to have your flag. So I don't know. Hey TSM, how are you doing?
Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, okay. Better today.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you have anything you think we ought to be discussing, or we covered it all?
Yeah, no, you're doing good. I think I was just looking at the builds that people have been putting out, and I think some people are going to be a little upset with this raid set.
So what's your build, TSM?
Well, in what way? What do you think they're going to be upset?
I think expectation management of the capability of the fleet. I think they're going to overestimate its ability to take down weapons, and I think they need to go nearly all power.
Okay, yeah. We've been fairly, I think everybody, on the show has been fairly tentative as far as the effectiveness of the countermeasures.
Yeah, and it's not the first time this has happened. It's happened before as well, where people leave. Duffy's on here as well. I mean, he gets it, but using the right crews is going to be important. Evade's not going to help you, not this time round. Countermeasures, don't waste any time putting countermeasure specials on. They're not going to help you either. It's pulling a Russia. It's as everything. Get as fast as fleet as you can is my advice, and kite everything possible. We've seen this fleet type before, this series before, and you've got a lag. You're really going to suffer on this one, because if you don't turn correctly, as you said on Wednesday's show, wide arcs, no tight turns unless you're out of zone, out of range, or you're really going to feel the pain, because there's not a single crew out there that's going to help you against corrosive. So it's going to be quite painful, I think, until we get some strategy.
So would you are you going with the Hyper 30 to get that extra speed?
Yeah, my combat speed's 92 at the moment. My turn speed is 90. So a little bit more faster than I was hoping the other way around, but I think it's that way around anyway, to be honest. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm up in the 90s, so Hyper 30 is definitely out.
Yeah, you didn't want to throw on D5 EV for even faster?
Yeah, mate, I know, but until I start getting them up into the,
U3X,
the upgrades. Yeah, and I'm nowhere near that. I'm not spending any money on upgrades this time, because I hate this raid series, always do. I hate the assault system, because it's one of the hardest ones to combat the damage against. So I'm just going to muddle through for these 2 months, and then.
Well, I'll come clean. I spent 3 coins on a speed up for my photon build. Other than that,
I haven't spent anything on these. I'm not even U1. I hate this series, I have to say, with a passion. I don't mind driving, but this is one of those sets. Stonefish, you can't do nothing for them. Scatterguns, some of them there have got ranges that you just can't compete against. It's just, it's going to be a bit painful, I think. But we'll get through it. But I don't think there's going to be any astounding free rides at all. The days of that are long gone. Strategy, if you're lucky, if you can outrun these things, and keep away from the splash, because splash is everything, and that's a good thing about Hyper 30. It does help a little bit with splash reduction.
The splash reduction stat is
It's a joke now.
useless. It's
Yeah,
useless.
it's a joke now, isn't it?
It doesn't. It
It did. I mean, we need an update to Hyper 30, but I mean, the problem is it gives us an advantage. So I don't think they're going to do that, to be honest. There's been very little specials that have really helped us apart from the standard trick pony of, this is a new engine for this Hyper.
The copy and paste engine.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. It's become very mundane and boring, hasn't it? It's the same engine, it's the same armor, it's the same, specials. We're going to go up 10% on this, but it's almost predictable, to be honest.
It's quite predictable as far as what our technology is going to be. But as far as one thing I did try to get, but I failed in getting, was having them include a picture of the
a target,
emerged target, to be included in the briefing, because it's going to be very difficult to discuss these targets with people. Whether it's like shows or people in alliances, because everything's going to be destroyed by the time you've surfaced the whole target.
Including yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you've got the ghost crawler just going to be eating down your neck all the time. So unless you're really lucky and you get a chance to run around and just let things keep swarming around you, so you can get everything to rise, just to show people what actually is in the target. You're going to have to admit that you are suffering an awful lot of damage just to be able to facilitate that. Then that's not a cost-effective way of. It's interest, but it's not cost-effective. And we'll have to do it in chunks. I think is probably bring a target up and then use Photoshop and probably piece it together doing it that way, because I don't think you'll be able to do it any other way. I don't think you'll have much of a fleet left by the time you finish otherwise.
Well, Reaver Scout engine, all speed, put a thought on there and just zoom around, surface everything, and go from there. They're not going to let you put the scoundrel in there, because I was trying to think.
Yeah.
That'd
be funny.
Because it's I think a big part of part of this game is people want to discuss it, and there's no visual to go along with it, because 85% of the target is at least what we saw in BXP is submerged.
Mm-hmm.
So you really can't say do this here or draw something there. It sort of limits the community participation when you really it all has to be video, and you can't really as far as explaining things, and you can't see everything at once. So,
my biggest complaint is that these ships are still like 85% underwater, even when they are surfaced. Like right now, looking at the picture of that, that's as much as you can actually see that ship, and that's tiny. And I mean, I can't. If you're playing on Flash, the diving animation, there's some weird blue aura when they deep dive or dive that wasn't explained and still hasn't been explained, and it looks different on HTML5. I mean,
usually,
it's why is the ship? Why can't you just come up all the way? Is it that big of a problem? Can you make it clear when things are deep dove or not? It's we don't really like submarine raid cycles or driving our own subs for that matter. Although they got rid of it, I'd like to see it. Maybe one submarine raid back at some point, but.
Kick-Out's just trying to get a kick out of us. That's why.
I don't think it's even that. I just think it's the same old, and there's no incentive to create anything new, because ultimately, like you say, you're churning out. Right, we're just going to go, we'll double the weight of the weapon. Okay, so that stops you using the previous hull series. Okay, we're going to add 30% damage so that you're going to encourage yourself to use the new weapon, that sort of stuff. We know we're going to up the armor by this percentage. Resistance is going to be X, and it's just following along a mill. There's no imagination at the moment.
No, it feels like it was all, I agree with you completely. It feels like it was all pre-programmed, and that was part of the selling point when it was sold,
Yeah, it's 2 specials or 3 specials. You can almost write the next series already. We haven't even got to it. We haven't got into this one yet, and you can almost write the next one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can probably write the next 3 years.
There's zero imagination,
Yeah. At least as far as the technology goes. Yeah, I agree completely on that point.
Which is a shame. But anyway. We'll still rise to the challenge because in the day that's the game, and there's nothing else available that's like this. So,
and just be honest, you can tell what kind of sub it is too. It's a tiger shark.
Tiger sharks, eh? Haha, yeah.
I never built those.
Oh, I did.
Never around for them.
No,
Liam had 1 or 2. Liam had a couple of them.
1 or 2 fleets.
Now, tiger sharks were interesting because you could also put the
weapon, yeah,
Cobra scattergun on them, and
perhaps the one's base out.
You mean inventive? That's what it could be.
Yeah. Well, you could also, as far as doing the, I forget, was it the FM or was it the DRAC? It was the DRAC bases, right? Where you could go in and take big chunks out of the DRAC bases with the Cobra scatterguns.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, at one stage, yeah.
Yeah. So, alrighty. Well, if we don't have anything we want to talk on the show, the link's out there in case anybody wants to show up for the after show. Otherwise, we'll be back next Wednesday. Derpy's probably going to do a show, and probably Derpy and TSM are both going to do shows 2 hours earlier to open up the raid, give you a first glance at the targets, and
I'll be mostly complaining.
Okay. And
I'll be showing off the useless missile defense system.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how that.
I've only got 4 on mine. That's it.
I've got 2, and they're coming off after day 1.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay, you're not going to give them a fair chance, Derpy?
Nah, they're coming off.
Okay, alrighty. Yeah, because I'm curious as far as you have 100, and it really depends if they really, because that's part of the whole thing is the countermeasures make life much more difficult for the designers.
And yeah, they not only gave us those countermeasures that we already had, they boosted them and made them better. So if we have countermeasures that are shooting everything down that's coming at us, they have to find some other way to guarantee damage or make the countermeasures kind of bad.
Yeah.
And I think I said that. You can go back on the show and check when we got the Photon announced with just a flavor text that said it will have countermeasures that are bonus to accuracy. I was a bit worried by that.
Okay.
Yeah, read between the lines. Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. Well, thanks everybody for showing up, and the link's there if you want to join the after show. If not, we will see you on Wednesday. And remember to wash your hands and wear a mask, and stay safe, everybody.
Good night, all.
Take care.